I'm pleased to share with you today some fair experience about this topic, which is borehole imaging. I try to have it simple with some kind of melange mix between simple stuff and the latest technology progression as well. So to make you guys have something new. Yeah, my background is geoscience, currently based in Norway. If you want to share with me also your experience just in the chat, I'd appreciate this. Just mention your background and your experience in the chat box. So to allow me to know little about your background and make the session what we can say relevant to everybody and yeah, make leveling for the session for everyone. So the agenda for today will be simple introduction. Then I would like to emphasize on the applications. What kind of applications that we have. We'll try as much as we can to summarize. We have a lot of application for borehole imaging, and this kind of log piece is integrated and intersect with a lot of domains, either geology, geophysics, reservoir engineering, or else. The most interesting part, which is interpretation, and then some insights in the technology, in the latest technology. I know, and yeah, the automation. Also, a little bit insights on the automation process. Do we have it in borehole image? Can we use it? What is the future? Something like this. If you want also to share your thoughts about what you know about borehole image, you can either open your mic and speak, or you can just post on chat. Simply the borehole image, it's kind of property around the wellbore. So we map the wellbore. It's not camera. This is what we see. It's here. It's a camera. But in borehole imaging in oil and gas industry, we use certain property to map what we can say 360 degree around the wellbore to see what features that we have. So usually the most common image can be, we can say simply resistivity. And then we have a lot of other borehole image, acoustic. Yeah, for example, if we're talking about wireline, so resistivity and acoustic, or resistivity, also they call it electrical image. So, and then we have density, neutron, gamma ray. So this is more toward LWD tools. So as mentioned, simply we can classify, there is some kind of images which is related to wireline, and the other kind of images related to LWD. Usually we differentiate between them just from the first appearance, that most of wireline images has these gaps in between. Because of the technique itself, it works using hydraulic pads. And LWD usually sensors. So we see like full image like this one. So this is just from the first appearance. So we can also classify it into electrical and acoustic. This is based on the property itself. Electrical, which is a wide aspect of borehole images, used the resistivity as a property. And then we measure in terms of resistive and conductive, and then the acoustic, which is also very important in terms of borehole evaluation, fractures. So this one use sound or use acoustic as a property for measuring, and then we can the mechanics aspect and fractures. So, and the good integration is if we have both of them along each others, which is electrical and acoustic side by side, so we can get a good integration. There is another kind of borehole image, but this is it uses downhole camera, but this is not our scope now. So this kind, maybe they use it sometimes in production interference, but not in drilling and normal logging operation. So this is kind of downhole camera. They use it sometimes, yeah. So regarding the applications, the first direct applications for borehole images, which is geological aspect, either structural or stratigraphic. Let's start firstly by structural. So from borehole image, we can detect depth data. Depth data, I simply call it the language of the image. So the most important tool in the industry that we can get depth information or high resolution depth information. Depth, I mean the inclination of the layers itself, which is borehole image. So fractures, yeah, maybe number one can lie in the top of the list that people use image to identify fractures, faults, and there's another structural element or structural break like faults and folds. This is also one of the most important, because when we get the dip or structural dip, so then we can interpret faults and folds, especially the subseismic part of it. So most of subseismic faults we can determine using the borehole image and also the unconformity. Facies, it's kind of building block also that we can get from the image. So we can get sedimentary facies. When we think about facies, we get a texture from the image. So, and this texture of the image and this texture of the image can be used to build different. Okay, so if there is an issue because I got a notification that your mic is not working or something like this, so if there is anything, just stop me and let me know. So yeah, okay. So jumping into rock texture, so as we are having like core-like facies, so image can give us, or borehole image can give us a lot of information about the texture itself, like grain size, internal lamination, diagenetic elements like vaginous, secondary porosity, caves, the solution channel. I know these all geological terms, but simply either grain size or the fabric of the rock or the cavities in the rock or the internal lamination of the rock. So if we can make it simple. And so now getting further application, so also geomechanical analysis. So one of the most important output of the image that we can have information about what's called drilling induced fractures and borehole breakout. And hence we can use this input in adjusting the geomechanical properties or building the mechanical earth model. A lot of times we use borehole image as a solid tool for determining depth or in-depth zones. So, for example, selecting sidewall cores. So it's a good practice to look into the image and see what is the best part in terms of depth, and then we can select the sidewall cores and also the pressure point. So image, so the advantage of having in-depth and high resolution details about the layer or the sweet spot or the best zone. So we can use this as complementary for selecting pressure point data as well. So all these, it can be a very important milestone in building a geological model. So we can use these outputs of the image, and then we can refine the model, and we can enhance our geological models that we have. So if we come into interpretation, usually we see the image. So this is the borehole, and then we deal with the borehole. So you can imagine like cut and roll. So when we cut and then unroll, then we will see all the lamination or the feature that we have across the wellbore, like sine wave. So most of what we see in the image will be, so this is moving from the 3D to 2D. We will see this sine wave, and as if the feature is whenever we are getting more inclination for the feature itself, we're gonna see a big distance between the peak and trough of the sine wave, or we can get higher sine wave itself. To make it more simple, so these are example of fractures. So we have these fracture. Usually when you see fractures in the outcrop, you will have something like this. And then when we cross it in the borehole, you will start to see this, what we see here, like sine wave. Maybe the bedding, if you have bedding plane, so it will be like this, and then the bedding will appear like near horizontal, or based on the inclination of the bedding for sure. But usually in vertical well, these high amplitude indicate like higher inclination event, like fractures and fault. And we represent the depth by these tadpoles. This we call it tadpoles. So here we have a scale from 0 to 90. So 0, 10, and so on. So this one represents the amount of depth. If, for example, if I have like 50 degrees, this is amount of depth, and toward this direction, it's like the normal direction that we have, north, south, and east and west. So now we have this one refer to the circle itself, refer to the magnitude, and the arrow refer to the direction that we have. So these are common for all types of service provider that providing image or image interpretation. They might use different shape, different colors, but at the end we have this scale, and we have this tadpoles. Maybe it's a circle, triangle, whatever, but at the end, so it refers to two important aspects. The first one is, as I mentioned, dip magnitude, and second one is the dip azimuth. These are example for just normal lamination. We don't have anything, so just normal, highly laminated. So what I mean, we don't have a lot of features. I mean, I don't have like crossing features or faults or fractures. That the most interesting feature that the people like, just normal laminated stuff. So this is a resistivity image. So usually in a resistivity image, we have a band of color or a window of color between white and black or reddish. So this one means resistive. It means resistive formation, and that when we are getting darker, it means conductive. So the window is resistive and conductive. So now we see that the lamination or the alternative lamination in terms of conductive and resistive. So conductive, resistive, and so on. Another kind of important feature that we see, it's the internal sand lamination or the cross bedding. So usually most of the sand that we have, the geological term for internal lamination inside the sand, or the most common internal lamination inside the sand, which is the cross bedding. So image can give you core-like texture for what you see in terms of this we are seeing cross-bedded sets. So this is usually inside sandstone, and then we can see these nice sets of cross bedding. One of the thing that, as I mentioned, come in the top of the image that people run the image because of, which is the fractures. So fracture identification. Simply we have open fracture partially, so open or closed. And then we have in between some partially filled or mineral field. Mineral field, it's closed, means closed fracture. If we are dealing with the electrical image, we usually don't say open or closed, but we say conductive and resistive. So mineral field, it's mostly will appear resistive. And if it's open, mostly, in most of cases, will appear conductive, because we have the mud enter this opening and make this conductive appearance in the image. We have another classification for fractures. So we have natural fractures and we have drilling induced or mechanical or drilling related fractures. Natural fracture, which is the geological fractures that we have due to tectonic, due to rock loading and unloading, faulting, whatever. And then induced fracture, which is recent fractures that happen due to drilling operation, changing on the current stresses, unbalance in the well bore. So that's why we have this kind of, so also with getting more in borehole image interpretation, we can differentiate between these natural fractures and the drilling induced fracture. Again, so focused look on how to differentiate between different kind of fractures. We both agree, we agreed now that most of the fracture will appear like high amplitude, which means like high depth value in most of cases. So most of these high amplitude that cutting the bedding, we call it fractures. So if it appear dark, which we call it conductive, we can say might be open on, but we cannot 100% say it's open unless we have side by side, maybe acoustic image that can confirm that this is already opening. Or cementing, but now this is 100% sure if we are dealing with water-based mud and the fractures appear like white here. So this is 100% it's mineral field or closed or cemented fractures. And these are the second kind of the drilling related fractures, which we call it drilling induced fractures. It appear in two shapes, either vertical. So we have it in two sides, 180 degree apart, or we have it in this shape. So also 180 degree apart. So it appear only in two sides of the well bore. But the natural fracture, it usually cross everywhere, all the sides of the well bore. Bolts and as you all know, if you are dealing with geological outcrops or working in G&G, so we have faults, we have major faults, we have minor faults, we have some fractures as well. So one of the good information that image can tell us, usually the small scale faults or the faults that don't appear too much in the seismic, which is these faults. So this one is a minor scale fault, but this is show how much the capability of borehole imaging revealing such nice baby fault here, so or small fault. So we can see typical displacement, this layer and this layer, and then we can start picking what we have. And so when you pick here, So the word picking, we usually use it like when you pick seismic as well, horizons or whatever. So here we pick sine wave. So when you pick sine wave, it gives you through the software the amount of dip and direction of dip. Borehole breakout, this is kind of, now we are talking more into borehole shape analysis. So we are talking about feature related to borehole shape. So image also is sensitive to these kind of borehole shape deformation feature like borehole breakouts. Borehole breakouts, it's shear failure along usually two sides of the well bore. These two sides usually along the minimum horizontal stress. In the opposite direction, we can have, not always, so we can have what tensile failure in the well bore, which you call drilling induced fracture, the one that I mentioned before. So usually this is an important information. So we get from the well from the borehole image that we can identify what we have in terms of breakout, which is indicating the minimum horizontal stress, and what we have in terms of drilling induced fracture, which is usually parallel to the maximum horizontal stress. And now we can get this information and build proper geomechanical models and enhance our geomechanical data, and hence our drilling using proper mud weight and else. Back to geology again, which is texture analysis. As you see, image can give you clear scan. This is not every time you will get such nice image, but we can get it in a lot of situation that you can have nice image for what you have in terms of internal fabric of the rock, like what we have here, something similar to conglomerate and breccia. This section is not the same. I'm just getting you some imagination of what we are having. So you're having like different gravels and clasts here. Another kind of texture that we can see from the image, which is related to the burrowing of the organisms or fossils, which we call it bioturbation. So we have these shapes. So getting more experience with the image, you can easily identify these kind of fossil zones or bioturbated zones. VUGs, that a lot of people like these VUGs. Sometimes it enhances porosity and permeability. Some other times it can impact some water production or whatever. So regardless of these details, usually getting secondary porosity, which is a credit. So borehole image can identify these vagueness or caviness in the formation. Facies, and geologically we can build facies model based, but this is will be like one well facies model or one well depositional model. So we can build the facies model. Usually we do our dip picking here. So we classify bidding, cross bidding, all the feature that we see, explain the fabrics that we have, texture that we have, and then built like core-like facies. So this one characterize each formation. This is sandstone, cross-bedded, laminated, and whatever, and this is shale. And by integration of what we have in terms of electrofacies that we got from the image with the other logs and dip data, then we can build like single well depositional model. Now we can say that this is a channel, and this is for geologists, they should know this. This is levee, and this is overbank, and or maybe you have deltaic deposits or whatever. So image in absence of core can make a good work for this. Now speaking about latest LWD technology, so LWD is a big aspect as well, so we don't have time to go through. So usually common thing in LWD that we used a lot, which is density image. But let's speak about the latest technology in terms of LWD, which the acoustic. For example, this is Bix Star data. So here, so we have like acoustic data while drilling. Why it's important? Acoustic data. Acoustic data give us a lot of information about the shape of wellbore itself. If we have washout, if we have collapse, so and if we have fracturing as well, like we can build like 3D shape of the wellbore and define the area that has some enlargement or washout or whatever or breakout. This is another example you can, and also you can get like average hole size. You can see the changing, and this important and very this is very useful information during drilling to adjust mud weight and else, or to and also for completion design itself and for setting buckers. So this is will be very important information. Usually in LWD display, we display the image as a horizontal display. And what we see in like the reverse of what we see in terms of vertical wells. So here, the long amplitude one means that we are almost parallel to the formation itself. So, and the vertical one, or the one that we described for like semi-horizontal or very low depth, here indicating a high event or high inclination into like fracture or fault. So usually we are drilling like this. We are here parallel, almost parallel into the formation with cutting down. So we have another expression we use it during, especially during geosteering operation. We have what we call it cutting down and cutting up, which is very important indicator for where we are from the reservoir. Are we are getting away from our reservoir? Are we staying in the middle of our of reservoir? Have we faulted down or up or whatever? So this is our very important direction indicator. So we have this cutting down, and so here this example, it's usually mostly cutting down or drilling down features, and we have some vertical feature that could indicate some fracturing and faulting in the formation. The last thing I'll talk about, which is the AI. We have already the previously, so we have some kind of automation thing. So let me play this one. So usually we so yeah, let's bring it again. So usually let also, I don't know if this, I just use this video for take a look. So this is the normal picking, and now this is kind of building like automatic dip picking. So now we have a lot of, so what he did here, so in terms of picking, normal picking, so one by one, let's stop here. Now we can have lots, thousands of picks. So now this kind of automation we have before something called auto dip, and we have something called MSD, but now it's become even much improved in a lot of software. So we have these. I see it very useful in terms of picking a big section of shale, but also this need a lot of QC. So after picking the data, we need to go and QC these data. This is one shape of the automation. Another shape of the automation, or using some advanced technology. This is the applying some kind of interpolation. Usually wireline images has these gaps in between. So this, now the software will apply interpolation and fill the gaps. And the good part, after filling the gaps, it can start characterize, make like property map for what we have and then make segmentation, for example, and we can determine here the vagueness and connected portion of the image, and then we can build like porosity and permeability based on the image itself. Also, all these kind of techniques needs a good QC for the image. It needs a good QC for the image, because if you have, as you all know, garbage in, garbage out. So if we have all, for example, if all this is noise, so we need to be. I see most of the new generation software that can apply the automation. It use either the neural network or the new way of neural network, which called convolutional neural network. I'm not too much expert. I'm still building my expertise in this. That's why I brought just the easier video here to maybe allow you. I think, yeah, maybe this is, you get like quick idea about what is neural network and the convolutional one, and how it can classify the image. Yeah, maybe for AI, for me, so it can be some kind of this also. Yeah, this is what I have, and if you have any question, I'll be happy to answer. I see most of the new generation software that can apply the automation. It use either the neural network or the new way of neural network, which called convolutional neural network. I'm not too much expert. I'm still building my expertise in this. That's why I brought just the easier video here to maybe allow you. I think, yeah, maybe this is you get like quick idea about what is neural network and the convolutional one, and how it can classify the image. Yeah, maybe for AI, for me, so it can be some kind of this also. Yeah, this is what I have, and if you have any question, I'll be happy to answer.